everyone, today I'm here to give you my May wrap-up and my June to be read. No explanation, let's just figure out what books I read in May and what books I plan to read in June. Now in May I read 6 books and the majority of them were contemporary. I'm not going to lie to you guys, if you watched my last video, or my last wrap-up or to be read video, I said I was going to read a lot of contemporary because I was going on vacation. That's what I like to read, so yeah, let's just put that disclaimer out there. The first book I read in May was Scarlet by Marissa Meyer. This is the second book in the Lunar Chronicle series. It is the sequel to Cinder, and I loved it. I loved it even more than Cinder itself. I'm not going to say too much about this book because I actually have a review on it, which I will link below, or you can click the book right here if you want to go see the review. I gave it a 5 out of 5 because I just adored it. It was an amazing, amazing book. Definitely go check it out. The second book I read, which I actually wasn't planning to read, I don't even know why I read it, I just randomly read it, was Stealing Parker by Miranda Kelleny? I don't know how you say her name. Sorry. This is actually the first book I read by her. I know she writes a lot of contemporary stuff. I really liked it, actually. It's about a girl named Parker, and she's got a perfect life. Her mother's scandal rocks, and it rocks the whole town, and it changes her perspective. Now she quits the things she loves, she loses some weight. She figures, why kiss one guy when she can kiss 3? So she, it's a very good book of figuring yourself out, figuring why she does the things she does. I really enjoyed it. I gave it a 4 out of 5. I definitely could recommend you pick this up. I enjoy her writing style a lot. The next 2 books I have a review on. They're separate books, but they're in one video. So the next 2 books I read were Sophie Kinsella's Wedding Night and Amy and Roger's Epic Detour by Morgan Matson. And you can click on each of these books if you want to see the review on them. But I'm going to talk about Wedding Night first because I finished it first. I adore Sophie Kinsella. If you guys don't know that already, I love her. My favorite book of hers is I've Got Your Number, and I wasn't impressed with this one that much. It didn't really rock my world. It's definitely one of my least favorite Sophie Kinsella books. And yeah, if you want to see more in depth of what I thought about it, definitely go watch the review. I gave it my first 3.5 rating because I was just so conflicted whether to get it 3 or 4 because I just didn't enjoy it overall. However, with the next book, Amy and Roger's Epic Detour, I adored. Like, holy crap, I adored this book. An amazing, amazing, fun read that is it's fun, but I took away a lot more than I was expecting to. I would definitely go recommend watching the review on it to see more about it, to figure out why I loved it so much. I gave it a 5 out of 5 because I just adored it so much. Definitely a summer read for sure. Like, go read it right now. Next book I read was Jennifer Eccles' Star-Crossed. I actually thought this one was a YA book, but it's actually an adult book, and it was okay. It was not amazing at all for me, and I just didn't enjoy it that much. I didn't really fall in love with the characters. I thought the plot was okay. I didn't have to force myself to read it though. It did have a good enough pace where I could finish it, so I'm not bashing on it at all completely. I gave it a 3 out of 5 because it was just a subpar book for me. I wouldn't really recommend this one to be read. Sorry, but Jennifer Eccles' other book, Such a Rush, an amazing book. Amazing book. The last book I read is This Is What Happy Looks Like by Jennifer E. Smith. If you've been around my channel for a while, you know that she actually wrote The Statistical Probability of Love at First Sight, and I was okay with this one, and I feel the same way with this one. I don't know what it is about Jennifer E. Smith's writing style that I just can't love. I like it, I don't love it. It's just not one of my favorites, and I'm sad to say because I thought the whole premise of this book was amazing. The plot follows, it's like a teenage You've Got Mail, and if you've watched You've Got Mail, you know that they email back and forth throughout the whole movie, and they don't figure out who each other is to the end of it. So when I heard this was a teenage You've Got Mail, I kind of expected that, but it kind of fell through for me in the facts that they figured out who each other was very, very quickly in the book, which I felt I could have went a little bit further with that. I felt it could have been a mystery a little bit more, but overall I didn't hate it. With Jennifer E. Smith's book, I just like them. They're not amazing for me or anything. What is amazing are the covers of her books. Like, this is one of my favorite covers of books I've seen in a while. Overall, I gave it a 3 out of 5 because it didn't wow me, nor did I hate it. It was just subpar for me. So those were all the books I read in May. Now June. If you've been around my channel for a while, I felt like I've said that 50,000 times already. You guys know that I am a wedding photographer, and June is my busiest month this year. I have 5 weddings back to back on weekends. So finding time in June for me to read is going to be a real tough situation because it's a process doing a wedding. It just is a long process, and it takes a lot of work, especially when you have back-to-back weddings. So I decided this month I shall make it a rereading month, and I think that is important. I think books don't get reread a lot, and I think they should, because when books become your favorite, they become your favorite for a reason, and I'm 100% fan of rereading them to fall in love with them all over again. like to experience the love that you felt the first time when you read them. So, and you know what, I haven't reread books in a while, and I used to be a huge proponent of it before I started, you know, YouTube, because I didn't buy as many books before this channel, and I would just reread the books I loved. And I felt like that was a very good month to do it because I'll be busy, and because I feel like rereading is an important part of reading. So, you know, with this month with rereading, I challenge all you guys to reread books and reread some of your favorites. You know, fall in love with them all over again, and we can discuss how awesome it was to do that. But yeah, I'm going to be rereading 4 books and reading 2 new books. The first book I will be rereading is City of Bones by Cassandra Clare. I fell in love with this book when I first saw it. This book, I didn't even know anything about it when I first bought it, which was way before I started YouTube. And I fell in love with it with the cover because the cover is so unique. Sorry, my dog's moving. So I just, and the movie's coming out in August, so I figured now's the time to reread it, to fall in love with it all over again, to get refreshed for the movie, and I'm just so excited to reread it. My next reread of the month is The Duff by Cody Cumlinger. This is one of my all-time favorite contemporary books. I love this book so, so much. I actually first read this book at the library and I had to buy it because I loved it so much. The Duff is pretty much about a girl named, 17-year-old girl named Bianca, who is cynical and loyal. She doesn't think she's the prettiest of her friends by any long shot, and she encounters this one guy she goes to school with and thinks he's hot and charming and all that, and he calls her the Duff, which the Duff stands for the designated ugly fat friend. And of course something happens between them two, and it's a great book discovering who you really are and how the relationships really affect you and how family, it's an amazing book. I love it so much. The book I will be rereading is Divergent by Veronica Roth. The movie's not coming out for a while, I don't think. I don't even know the exact date that it's coming out in, but it's one of my favorites, and I have reread this book twice already, so why not reread it again? I fell in love with it, and I want to fall in love with it all over again. The last book I will be rereading is Catching Fire by Suzanne Collins. This is the second book in the Hunger Games series, and the movie comes out in, I totally forgot how awful of a fan I am, but I decided to refresh myself on it, and this is a lot of people's favorite of the series, and I love it myself as well, but it's been so long since I've read it, and I want to reread it, to fall in love with it all over again, if I haven't said that enough. So those are the 4 books I'll be rereading. I think, I don't know, I'll probably fly through those because, you know, once you've read a book that you love, that you could just fly through again. So I decided to add 2 new books upon that shelf. And the first book that I will be reading that is not a reread is The Bling Ring by Nancy Jo Sales. If you can see, this is based off of a movie, and it's not really a book per se. If you don't know what The Bling Ring is, it's in 2007 or 2000, like the early 2000s, a bunch of kids, I think about 5 of them, started to break into like Lindsay Lohan's and Paris Hilton's house and just steal their stuff, and they were not poor kids themselves, they were like kind of richer, and it explores the story of that. So when that happened, they got entitled The Bling Ring. Nancy Jo Sales, a writer at Vanity Fair, created an article on it, and then I guess it was made into like a kind of book thing, or just a whole encounter of it, and I'm very intrigued by it. I've already started to read it and I'm loving it so far. I'm just excited to see it because I'm interested in that kind of stuff, like the celebrity tabloids and how that affects real life, just affects everybody's point of view. Anyway, so I'll be reading that. Next book I'll be reading, every month I will be reading a book from my unread book jar, so let's shake it up and see what I get, because I have no clue. If you guys don't know what this is, I made a video a while back I got the idea from Mothereffingbooks. She created the idea. Definitely go check it out, which I will link below. And pretty much what you do is you write all your unread books on this little paper, and then you pick one. You pick one to read. So let's see which one I get. I'll close my eyes. I feel like it's like a big surprise. 5 Flavors of Dumb by Anthony John. The book I'm reading that I selected for my book tour is 5 Flavors of Dumb by Anthony John. This is, I don't know too much about this book, I'll read it. It's about a girl named Piper who has 1 month to get a paying gig for Dumb, the hottest new rock band in school. If she does it, she'll become manager of the band and get her share of the profits, which she desperately needs since her parents rated her up for college fund. That kind of sucks. She'll have to deal with all these band people, and yeah, she's deaf, so it's going to be quite a challenge. So it'll be really cool to read this book, so I'm excited to read it, to knock it off my TBR pile. I highly recommend you guys go do that if you haven't made your book jar. So that is all the books I am reading for June. Now, you can vote for the 2 you want to see reviews on, and no, they do not have to be the 2 new books I selected. So if you want, you can vote for books I've already done reviews on, such as Divergent or City of Bones. I don't know if I've done reviews on those. I don't know. But we can do it'll be a reread review almost. So, you know, stuff like that. So definitely vote for your 2 that you want to see reviews on. So what are you guys reading this month? What have you read last month? And are any of you guys going to be rereading with me in June? I would love it all if you joined me and we took on June as our rereading month of the year. That would be great. I hope you guys have a great rest of your week, and I will talk to you later. Bye.
I was 3 and you were 5. Pushed me down, made me cry. Told each other we could marry someday, but we never knew we'd have to move away. Come to the creek one last time, oh my.